Dear friends, welcome to this episode of My Career, My Identity. The intention of this series is to help to develop the qualities of our youngsters and children. It's a direct formation program to enhance the youngsters to be great citizens with strong values and valid skill set for future. Policy making, decision making, and control. These are the three functions of management that have intellectual content. It is necessary to have intellectual acumen and sharpness to work in these levels. Youngsters have to think of their future contribution and they have to come forward with maturity, values, and skills to serve the nation. Youngsters of today have to prepare themselves ready to interpret laws, prepare policies, and to analyze the areas of progress and work towards development, vision, and implementation. One problem we face in policy making is the danger of having technology develop faster than the legal and regulatory system can react, potentially risking safety as well as efficient development and testing. It is to this gap that our youngsters have to prepare themselves and develop their skills. They have many areas to contribute and to bring novel ideas. Financial regulatory reforms are the need of the time, and it is crucial and critical. Its efficiency enables the governments to stay long and to contribute to the complete holistic development. Today, we are looking into these skill sets. And today we have a multidisciplinary scholar with us. The multidisciplinary approach to the problems and the needs of the society are a new paradigm. We need to learn to study and analyze in this method to bring progress and development. Regulatory economics is a very influential and powerful area to analyze the growth trajectory and to provide direction for growth and to secure the citizens. Developing sound policies requires seeing natural resources as dividends of sustained econ system productivity rather as a stockpile of assets. Let's dream to bring better solutions to the needs and necessities of the people. Market discipline and regulatory skills which an individual practices can develop strong individuals for tomorrow. Let's all develop ourselves and contribute. Raghuram Rajan, in his classical work, I Do What I Do, says policy making invariably involves taking measured risk in the face of uncertainty. For one has neither a prior template nor the luxury of indecision. We have today an experienced expert, Mr. Joy Kuriakose, who has been working with the government to study and analyze the needs and necessities of the time. He has a great academic background. He has been immensely contributing to the various projects of national and international importance. Mr. Joy Kuriakose is a highly qualified individual, educated at St. Joseph's College, Devagiri, Dr. John Mathai Center, Calicut University, Dr. Zakir Hussain College, Delhi, Faculty of Law, DU, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Delhi, London School of Economics, National University of Law, Delhi, and National University of Law, Hyderabad. He has traveled extensively in India, Europe, North America, and to many parts of Southeast Asia. He is today with us to throw some light on the scope of regulatory laws and economics. as a profession. And he is here. Thanks, Mr. Joy Kuriakose, and welcome to this episode. And wishful thinking is not sound policy. There is a tremendous gap between public opinion and public policy. We need to develop ourselves to become great personalities and contributors. Dear youngsters, all the best and gain the best out of this session. So again, welcome to one and all, and over to you, Mr. Joy Kuriakose.
Yeah. Good evening. It's 4 o'clock in the evening. First of all, thanks to Dr. Benny Palati for arranging or organizing this kind of a workshop or an opportunity for an intellectual discourse. Thank you, Dr. Benny Palati. And of course, I mean, the students who are around him or who is working around him, it's a great privilege for me so that, I mean, to know that there are students who are interested in the arena of regulatory laws and economics. Then coming to the point, economics, everybody know, I mean, in very simple words, I always start saying that we have several needs and the method or the resources to satisfy all those needs are limited. So therefore, the crux of economics or the basics of economics is how to learn, how to use the limited resources in the most efficient manner. Law, of course, I mean, there are different kinds of laws, but regulatory law is slightly different. Generally, people think that these are all central government or it is a proper central government setup. But in fact, a regulatory body or a regulator is a public authority or government agency. And I repeat, it is not government. It is a public authority or a government agency which is responsible for exercising autonomous authority over some area of human activity in a regulatory or supervisory capacity. So the point here is human activity. So human activity can be regulated in different ways and different setups. In respect of a regulatory authority, it is always under some ministerial setup, but it is not the ministry. To say an example, like one of the prominent regulatory authority in India is Competition Commission of India. Competition Commission of India, of course, is a government agency, but it is not the government. So in order to regulate the market, the government has passed an act of parliament, which is known as Competition Act 2002. So just like the general lawyers practice in the law court on their specified areas, the regulatory lawyers do their work in a regulatory setup. Again, to make the listeners understand, the setup of a regulatory authority is also something like a quasi-judicial system. So just like we have judges and advocates to plead the case, in the regulatory setup, there is a chairman and members to address, understand, analyze, and give judgment to the problem. So like that, as many of the Indian students or the Indian citizens are not aware of this arena. They just think that a lawyer means he must be a civil lawyer, or whatsoever. The general kind of a practice which we hear with great names. So in case of a setup like Competition Commission of India, which is the market regulator, the body consists of 7 members and 1 chairman. So all the market related cases that comes up to the commission are analyzed by economists and lawyers, as well as financial analysts. And this have to be analyzed in terms of the provisions of the Competition Act 2002, and correct analytical interpretations has to be produced by the economists or the lawyers or the financial analysts who are working under this commission. I say another example, like aviation sector, which is another important sector of the economy. So therefore, there is a airport economic regulatory authority which is regulating the airport system, the tariff system, etc., etc. There also, there is a chairman and there are members to take care of the issues that are arising in this important segment of economy. So there again, there are economists, there are lawyers, and there are financial analysts who are doing the work for the chairman and members of the authority. Similarly, since many of you are not aware of this kind of a setup, this being a very preliminary kind of a discussion, and just to make you understand, I will just briefly say which are the regulatory authorities or the regulators in India. So I will just say Reserve Bank of India, Securities and Exchange Board of India, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, Small Industries Development Bank of India, National Housing Bank, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, Central Board of Film Certification, Financial Stability and Development Council, Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, Bureau of Indian Standards, Advertising Standards Council of India, Board of Control for Cricket in India, Association of Mutual Funds in India, Engineering Export Promotional Council of India, Express Industry Council of India, Federation of Indian Export Organization, Indian National Ship Owners Association, Indian Chemical Council, Indian Stainless Steel Development Association, Manufacturers Association for Information Technology, National Association of Software and Service Companies, Organization of Plastic Processors of India, Project Exports Promotion Council of India, Central Drug Standards Control Organization, etc. So like that, as many of you are not aware, there are so many regulators in our country. And of course, they are divided into different setups, like some are market regulators, some are financial regulators, some are banking regulators, some are pharmaceutical regulators, some are food regulators. So in all these different arena, what we need to understand is that the general legal studies is not enough here to get into this profession. So, of course, the general LLB or LLM kind of degrees are the preliminary criteria for getting into these kinds of jobs. But one has to have one has to be thorough about the regulatory laws to work in a regulatory organization. And as I mentioned, I primarily is in the my expertise is primarily in of course economics and then aviation law. So when I did, as Dr. Benny Palati has mentioned, he has asked me to give a brief background that how I got into all this kind of setups or arena to work in this profession. So just to obey Dr. Benny Palati, or so I mean, it is like I am born and brought up in Kerala, and so as father has said, I mean, I did my bachelor's degree in economics from Calicut University at St. Joseph's Devagiri, and then being a rank holder, I got admission for my master's in economics in the university department itself. So therefore, the Calicut University PG department for economics is in Trichur, that is known as Dr. John Mathai Center, whom many of you know, that was a finance minister, I mean, of India at some point of time. So that PG Department of Economics is after this Dr. John Matai, and so thereafter my interest in so this the law and economics has prompted me to take admission at Delhi University for LLB, and so I joined the Law Center, Delhi University, and did my LLB. And thereafter, my interest, of course, was more because of this economics background. My interest was more in market. So therefore, I did my competition law, which is not very much prominent in a country like India or any of the developing countries, whereas this is so prominent in America, Europe, and all the advanced countries. So after doing my competition law, then I had an interest specifically to become an expert in aviation law. So therefore, I did my master's in aviation law. So these are, of course, I mean, I had, as Father Benny has mentioned, I had gone to London School of Economics, and of course, I mean, the intention, of course, was to do a PhD, and so I have done my work, but since there were some study leave issues, I just could not complete it then. But now that I have completed my doctoral work also, and so my doctoral thesis is on a public-private partnership. So therefore, I have gone more specifically into the aviation sector in India. And so therefore, I have examined the public-private partnership airports in India, which are Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Bangalore, and Kochi. This is, I mean, then Dr. Benny has also asked me, I mean, just to, say, or how all these institutions worked as far as the intellectual standards are concerned. I would say, the education at Calicut University is definitely more textbook oriented, I would say, because if we study well and write the exam in an analytical way, we get good marks, and so therefore it is more based on the textbooks. And when it comes to the master's degree in Calicut University, there also I would say, of course, we need to work more laboriously, but again, it is more textbook oriented study. When it comes to the law, I mean, law faculty or the law center in Delhi University, I would say it is really an eye-opener. They use the case study methods. So therefore, if we simply study the text, or if we simply write down the law that is promulgated, we will get only, I mean, very barest minimum marks. But if we analyze the case, if we study the previous cases, Then if we do the exam, then we really that really gives us an intellectual stimulus and more practical knowledge. And I would say the law study at the Law Center, Delhi University, is something really remarkable. And when it comes to the National Law School, it goes without saying that the best national law schools are normally it is first Bangalore, then second Hyderabad, and so on and so forth. So therefore, the law study at Hyderabad National Law University is again, is a deep intellectual understanding along with the practical cases. So therefore, one of the significant thing we should say about the National Law University Hyderabad is that they are so open to the students, so free to the students, and sometimes they even don't mind that they will say that if you want, you can use the textbook or your reading material for writing the examination. But a student, a candidate who is using the reading material or the textbook to write the exam will score less than one who really, understand the concepts and practicalities, and if he or she writes the exam. So therefore, that again is really a quality education. And when it comes to competition law, so that is generally available only in the universities of United States of America and some of the European universities. In India, of course, there is a National Law University. Delhi is offering competition law as a subject. So therefore, the preliminary kind of a competition law setup can be understood by doing a master's in National Law University Delhi, and that will give us the brief understanding of market regulation, because to regulate market, one has to learn the competition law. And so therefore, as on date, National Law University Delhi is offering competition law as a subject. And aviation law, it is as on date, it is available in National Law University Hyderabad. Then when it comes to the London School of Economics, I would say it's a university in the marketplace. So it is against all the conventional approaches and all the conventional setups. So naturally, in India or even in the US, we see university means it is a huge complex, sometimes it is hundreds and thousands of acres complex. So LSE or London School of Economics is just opposite to that. It is like there are 4 buildings in the marketplace which are one does not have a feeling that it is a university. And the approach there, as I said, if we go with some kind of attitude that we have in India when we do our bachelor's or master's, we won't be able to do justice to it, because Um, the classes sometimes are at 8 o'clock, sometimes it is at 2 o'clock, sometimes it is at 4 o'clock. And so depending upon the time, the students has to prepare extremely well before they enter the classroom. So suppose if there is a topic like say innovation in the present century, so then the concerned professor will give a huge list of readings, like where one will have to understand the concept from the scratches. So therefore, the reading list for a class will be something like at least 10 pages. The list will be something like 10 pages. So it may not be possible for a student to go through all these hundreds of books which are appearing in the reading list before one enters the class. So what we used to do is like, we were like, in my class there were 32 students. So we used to divide into different groups. And so if 10 books are dealt with or read by one group of students, another 10 by another group of students, and another 10 by another group of students, so forth. I mean, so that was the way we used to go and attend the classes. And when the professor comes, he just like, as we see in India, like the professor or the teacher is not coming with the entire study material. He or she will just ask, have you gone through the reading list? And then the students say, yeah, yes, we have done. So then he or she will ask the students to start. So therefore each group will say what has been their view of thought from their readings. And when all these 32 students express their views, finally, I mean, that concept will be so clear to the students, and even the teacher will also get something new. So that is the kind of education which we get from a social science institute like London School of Economics. So so therefore, what the point or the crux of the matter is that unless and until we analyze, we take efforts, and if we don't prepare ourselves, we will go and sit there like fools. And so that is not the way this kind of premier social science institutes are teaching, or I would say the methods they are following. So if we write something just from the text, we will hardly get a pass mark. But if we say that this is the concept, and this view is expressed by such and such thinker, or such and such lawyer, or such and such economist, and in view of this, I support the view of such and such economist or such and such lawyer, then only we get good marks or appreciation. So therefore, studying by heart, as we sometimes used to do in India is of no use if we go out to America and Europe. So briefly, since Dr. Benny has asked me to tell you how and in which way the academic system or the study methods prevails in different institutions that I have studied. So that is why I said these things. Father, sorry, Dr. Benny, if you tell me how I should move further, I mean, accordingly.
Okay. Yeah. Now, I think youngsters, you can raise your questions, clarifications, so that you can gain more. Can maintain that order one after another. Anyway, Michelle can start. Then others also can ask.
Yeah, Father. One thing.
Unmute and ask. Yeah.
It should end at 5 o'clock. Okay.
Sure. 55, we will have the vote of thanks. Yeah, sure.
Sir, I wanted to ask you, what are the recent laws and regulations that has been introduced by the government to overcome the current market failure in the economy?
Recent laws, if you ask me specifically, I mean, as far as market regulation is concerned, it is competition law, and there is no other law for market regulation. And in the competition law, we have anti-competitive agreements. Then there is law against abuse of dominant position. And if there is combination, there are provisions against the combinations. And then there is an inquiry process. And so these primarily in the market regulation, I mean, the main problems or the cases that we face are anti-competitive agreements, then abuse of dominant position and combination. So the way to overcome these market problems are Competition Act 2002.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sir, I wish to ask that what are the challenges that we as students can face to have a quality education in reputed colleges?
Can you repeat the question once again?
Like, what are the challenges that we as students can face to have a quality education from reputed colleges?
Yeah, I would say quality education is something which we all aspire to. So to get a quality education, it is not just the institution that matters. It is like, so how we start, what is the intensity of our desire to study? So for example, I go to the barest kind of a setup, say for example, when a child is in standard 1. So therefore, the parents insist him to study. But the child may have an interest to play also. It's not only the study. So therefore, we should aim for an integral development of the student from nursery onwards. Then only we will have a quality education. So if a student, if a child who has grown up with an integral vision from nursery onwards or first standard onwards, will have that kind of a mindset and environment to think properly. And I would say there are exceptions. So sometimes, there may not be opportunities for the students to get into the quality education. But initially, if one does one's homework, I mean to say, homework means not the work at home, but the study at the school, and the basic things a student has to carry out. If he or she is carrying out, then he and she will have the opportunity further. This is what my experience say. So even if one is from a poor background financially, but if he is showing the interest for an integral development, opportunities will come. Especially those who, I mean, people like us who believe in God, that if one door is closed, another door will open for a person who actually aspires to. And then as far as quality institutions are concerned, I would say, like getting admission into the quality institutions. Simple example, I will say, I mean, you are a grown-up person. So suppose if you are already a graduate, and if your intention is to get into a quality institute, say abroad, the first thing they are asking, they are expecting from a quality student is getting an SOP from the student. SOP means statement of purpose. So suppose if you want to become, say, regulatory economics, for example. So a school like, say, London School of Economics, for example, since I have been there. So if you express your desire in way of a email or in way of an application, the concerned dean will first ask, give us an SOP. The SOP shows that how deeply a student is interested in, or how much intellectual capacity he will have. So the expression of interest and SOP, all the quality, the so-called quality institutions, I mean to say, because we have to say some universities are recognized better compared to other. And if some such universities, if we say, are the quality institutions, then I would say, like their view is that a student who has scored at least 70% in their graduation, and whose English language, for example, I mean, there are different ways to test the languages like IELTS, etc., TOEFL, etc. And so if there is a minimum of 8 or 7, I mean, so like that. And if there is a GRE score, and so like that, there are different criteria which the so-called quality institutions keep for admitting a student. So, and such quality students, if they don't mind giving the scholarships also, because their institutions also need quality students. And so therefore, in Europe and America, I mean, plenty of opportunities for scholarship, but that will be given only to the right students, because they measure or judge who is a right student by this kind of then another criteria for getting into quality education is that 2 good references, like so 2 of the professors, I mean, if someone is trying to get admission for a post graduation, so they will ask 2 references from 2 professors whom from the college studied last. So therefore, generally, in quality institutions, if a student is not good, they will not give a good reference, because they know that, I mean, whether this particular student is able to analyze and do the study or the quality which they want to keep up, then only, I mean, say, they will give references only like that. So like that, they expect from the Indian or any other developing country also that the reference should be to be reasonable, and it is correct. And so then there are different ways to check whether a student is a quality student. So this is what I mean, the one side of the coin. But I personally would say, like, everybody cannot go to Harvard or Oxford or Cambridge or any kind of this kind of a big institutions. But studying in the Indian scenario itself, if we use the library, like say for example, American library, which is at, if some of you want, you can note down, it is at 12 Haley Road. So there is an American library which provides every facility if a student wants to study in America. So they have all kinds of reference material, they have all kinds of videos, they have all kinds of all the modern technology available there. But the condition is that the student has to go there, sit there and utilize that. They will not allow to take it home. So that is the indication that whether the student is a serious student or who wants a quality education. That is. And if we work hard at 12 Haley Road for 1 year with a desire to go and study in one of the good American universities, I say that student will get an admission along with a scholarship. Similarly, if someone wants to go to say UK, so there is a British Council Library that is at, some of you want, you can note down, it is at 17 Kasturba Gandhi Marg. So that is a library which give full information about educational facilities, educational scholarships, and A to Z about the UK education system. There again, I mean, they will not permit much to take their material home. One has to go and sit there. I think, I'm not sure, but that is even open on Sundays, I think, but one has to check that. But at least on Saturdays, it is open. So students who want to do intensive academic work or who want to do hard work, such students have a lot of opportunities, and such students will get admission in quality, the so-called quality institutions. And as I said, even if we don't get into such kind of big institutes, but even in India, I mean, we can do well by studying in JNU or Delhi University, etc., etc.
Thank you, sir.
Now,
Yeah.
Ananya can ask.
So what, according to you, are the best skills that a youngster need to develop to be successful in life, and were they similar to your personal childhood skills and hobbies?
Once again, can you repeat the question?
So what do you think are the best skills that a child needs to develop in order to excel in life, and do you think they were similar to your personal skills as a child?
I would say, like, whatever is our interest. So we should not insist a child, that he should become an engineer or she should become a doctor, etc., etc. Whatever is the real interest a child is having. So because that is the point which you said is the main drawback in a country like India. Like if a student is interested in music, he or she should be encouraged to excel in that field. If a student is interested in carpentry, he or she should be encouraged to do that work, and there should be opportunities further and further and further to develop that skill. So I would say when a child is in 11th and 12th, he or she should decide what is her area of interest. And of course, the parents can guide. Say, for example, we can say to the child that if you have an interest to become an engineer, so take physics, chemistry, and maths. And if you have an interest to become a doctor, take science with biology. And if you want to be a social scientist, so take economics, political science, history, etc. And so like that, whatever is the interest of the student, that has to be found out at school level. And so this is what the creative or the innovative countries are doing these days. Like so they are developing skill development universities. Even in India, we are having a skill development university coming soon under the Delhi government. It is almost set up on 12th of October 2020, and the other procedures has to be followed now. So that skill development university is going to give admission to 50,000 students. So therefore, no, they are really trying to show that it is not the engineer or the doctor or the lawyer, the only professionals. Everything can be profession, and the students can become successful if they are encouraged to delve into their own arena of interest. So to the last part of your question, I would say my personal interest should not be the interest of any other student who is attending, or any other student I know. The student himself or herself has to decide which is the area where he or she can excel. And so if we excel in our area, whatever it is, even if it is music, even if it is carpentry, even if it is welding, even if it is becoming a doctor, or even if it's an engineer, everything is fine. And that is the dignity of labor, which you, the youngsters, have to appreciate and encourage. And if it happens like that, our country will also become a country like innovative country like America, Europe, or any other developed country. We should not have a feeling that this job is not good and that job is good. No, every job is good, every interest is good, every skill is good. And so therefore, we should excel in the area where we have interest. So that is the success. That is the crux of success, and I would say that.
Chelsea can ask, then Mebin can. So we will find and Chelsea now.
Hello, sir. So
Yeah.
my question is like at the time of independence, like India adopted a mixed economy system, but
Yeah.
now the government is promoting privatization and also disinvesting many public sector companies. So according to you, will this change have a positive impact, or will it even worsen the situation?
Yeah. See, as far as the economic policy or the government's governance policies are concerned, it has to change as per the need of the time. So in 1990s, that is post-liberalization, of course, I mean, we have given a lot of importance. And so mixed economy is the type of economy that was suitable to our country, because that was the level at which we were standing at that time. Now that if we want to see, development is something which everyone wants. Developed countries wants more development, and developing countries want to become developed countries. So therefore, capital is something, as we say in economics, as I said, no, resources are limited. So when we need huge capital, it should come from somewhere. And so therefore, government generally is not in a position to provide everything which is required for the development. So therefore, some private sector people are willing to contribute. So, and this public-private partnership is something which can bring development to our society. But it doesn't mean that everything that comes from this partnership is good. Definitely not. So therefore, I should not say, I mean, what is good and what is bad. But for development, the pooling together of government resources and private sector resources are required, and that is the guiding line behind this public-private partnership. And that, of course, is an area which is my core area of interest. But I should not be judgmental in it. But as a layman, just as a citizen of India, I would say pulling together of resources in the appropriate manner is something which may be, I won't say which is good, which may be good for our country.
So the last question by Mebin.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. So I had just two questions, small ones. How much does a non-law background person can influence in policy making? A person from non-law background. And the other question I had is how much like a center or the government can influence the regulatory authorities' powers or decisions that they are making, even though they are autonomous in nature.
Yeah. Okay. So it is very easy. Law is not at all. Law is not the only criteria for making any policy. That is only one part of the policy making process. So there are all other factors: economic factors, sociological factors, political factors, diplomatic factors. So policy making is based on based on what we get from all around. It is not based on the law background from the law sector. Absolutely no. I mean, it is from every sector inputs are coming before we make any policy. And your second part is that what was that? What was your second part of the question?
How much does the regulatory authority has truly power when it comes to autonomy, and government has the influence on it?
Yeah. So as I said in the very beginning, like a regulator or a regulatory body is an independent body. So therefore, it has its own teeth, and so therefore, the regulatory body is not under the control of anyone. Of course, there is an administrative, what you can say, setup above it, but it is that administrative setup or the ministry, that concerned ministry, is not influencing the decision of the authority, because the authority is working on the basis of an act of the parliament which has been passed for that particular sector. So therefore, every regulatory authority has its teeth. So therefore, it can bite anyone, irrespective of what comes from other sides.
Okay, so it is exactly 5 o'clock. We are just concluding. Anyway, it was a great session to interact with, and also I think if not Dr. Joy Kuriakose, then we could not have got these things, because it is, I mean, as Dr. Joy was sharing, these things are not available in India. I mean, so-called sharings, the sessions on regulatory economics, and surely our students from there, even 11th and 12th, they take this economic stream or those kind of streams. From there, they need to be given opportunities to identify and understand, okay, there are different areas of these sort which are of great importance. And this is functional, truly practical and practiced in our economy, in our governance. I mean, only then they will be able to strengthen their dreams to achieve greater heights. And it was truly, and Dr. Joy was detailing everything, all the so-called regulatory acts and systems in its details. Very useful, wonderful. And also the qualities of a student, how a student has to approach study, and that is also in comparison with taking the native Kerala institutes, the law institutes in Delhi, then surely the London School of Economics and Social Studies. So it was all the students, those who are interested to have a great academic future, will benefit from this wonderful session. So thanks a lot. And our Gino will be having a short vote of thanks. By that, we will end.
Good evening. I, Juno James, would like to thank our webinar speaker, Dr. Joy Kuriakose, for enlightening us with his knowledge and interesting things. It gave deep insights into the topic and revealed some interesting facts. The point where Joy sir told us about the challenges that students can face to have a quality education was really informative. I'm pretty sure the precious knowledge that Joy sir gave us will definitely help us in our studies and future. Thank you so much, sir. I would also like to thank our parish priest, Dr. Benny Palati, for giving us this opportunity to join the webinar. Thank you, Father. Also, I want to thank the participants who joined in this seminar to make this event successful. Thank you all.
So we end. Joy sir, okay, thank
Thank you.
you. Yeah, bye. Thanks a lot to
Thank
everyone.
you.